The story in Dodger baseball is that, yes, the Dodgers are in second place. It does not feel good. It doesn't feel familiar, but it is where they are. The Dodgers at 68 and 53, one game behind the San Diego Padres at 69 and 52. And yes, this is a Padres team that has played great baseball for a couple of months now. There's a Dodgers team that has struggled for a couple of months now. They've gone 12 and 21 since July 4th. It is the worst 33-game stretch for this team since 2017. And it's the first time that the Dodgers have been in second place in the National League West since all the way back in 2021, July 8, 2021, and that was the year that the San Francisco Giants, you had a different manager, you had a different GM, you had Farhan up there, we had the most yoked manager that you've ever seen, your wife or girlfriend's favorite manager of the Giants back in the day. It feels like a long time ago that we had that. But it was different times back then when that Giants team really just pulled it off, and they had themselves a really, really good year that year. Gabe Kapler and that gang, I mean, give them credit, but the Dodgers, they got the last laugh when they won the NLDS in 2021. So this is not what you expect from a Dodgers team that heading into the season. What was the storyline? What was the narrative? It was the Dodgers have ruined baseball. The Dodgers have signed all of the players. They haven't left any stars left there's no stars left for the rest of the teams. All the superstars are on the Dodgers now. The Dodgers had ruined baseball in the offseason last year. And now what? Are the Dodgers still ruining baseball? Are people talking about that anymore? I haven't heard that very much. That narrative has kind of gone away because of the Dodgers' struggles, and it just goes to show that a lot goes into a 162-game season. A lot goes into trying to repeat, and guess what? The Dodgers didn't ruin baseball. They tried to assemble a roster in the offseason that was foolproof of not having injuries and the type of depth and the kind of struggles that some of these guys have had. Yeah, unfortunately, they've had their issues this season for a lot of different reasons. But the truth is, when you look at where this Dodgers team's at, a couple of things come to mind. And we'll talk about the trades and the ones they didn't make and the current state of the bullpen, all that good stuff. But the truth of the matter is right now you're in a position with 41 games to play. You're one game behind the San Diego Padres, and you still have all of your preseason goals ahead of you. And that goal was to win another world championship. And yes, there's going to be some adversity. Yes, it's going to take a lot to get there. But let's take a look at how the rest of the season plays out. Because you've got 6 games against the San Diego Padres starting tomorrow at Dodger Stadium, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then the following weekend down in San Diego. And after you get through that stretch, the schedule does lighten up, and yes, that schedule is going to include teams that want to ruin the Dodgers season, division opponents, but you have 7 games against the Colorado Rockies, who, ironically, have around the same record as the Dodgers in the last month plus, which is pretty hilarious, but still they are the Rockies. And then you have 7 games against the Giants, who their season, SF stands for season finished. We know that Oracle Park is going to turn into a Spirit Halloween Superstore soon, like it does essentially every year in the last decade. And then you've got 6 more games against the Diamondbacks. So you've got division opponents that have all struggled, that have all pretty much fallen out of contention. And the other big thing that the Dodgers have here is, look, I mean, yes, the Padres are a tough opponent. There's no doubt about that. I mean, they loaded up, the additions they made, Sears and Fermin and O'Hearn and Laureano and Miller. I mean, they've had success with these guys, a completely overhauled roster. There's no doubt about that. But let's not forget, Dodgers Nation, that the Dodgers put some money in the bank early on in the year in their matchups against San Diego. Heading into the 3-game series this weekend, the Dodgers have gone 5-2 against the Padres this year. So, yes, you want to go 6-0. Yes, you want to go 5-1, 4-2, and give yourself a nice little cushion in the National League West down the stretch when your opponents have a winning percentage of .468, and you can wrap up the division, hopefully, with a massive 2-week stretch here against the Padres. But at the very minimum, the key number is 2. If you get 2 wins against the Padres, well, then you have won the season series. And if you win the season series, then you have the tiebreaker. So if this team is neck and neck with the Padres down the stretch and you're scoreboard watching and you're going back and forth, well, if you finish with the same record, the Dodgers will have that tiebreaker. So it's essentially good for an extra game. So that's why it's essential that the bare minimum is just to not get swept in both series. And at the very minimum, you need to take 2 games against San Diego. And if you take those 2 games, at the very least, you're kind of right there in the mix. Your schedule lightens up. If it's close, you win the division, and that's what's incredibly important. And then we talked yesterday about the wild card situation that the Dodgers are in currently. And yes, it does feel weird to look up the wild card standings as it pertains to the Los Angeles Dodgers. And right now, they are the second wild card team. They're at 68-53, a half game behind the Chicago Cubs, who are at 68-52, and then you got the Mets behind them at 64-56. So the Dodgers still have a really awesome chance to win the division. They have an awesome chance to go out there and hopefully win another World Series, but a lot of work has to be done. But for anyone out there that thinks that the Dodgers are going to miss the playoffs, that would have to be a complete, utter, historic downfall and collapse by an organization that has made the postseason the last 12 years. It has 11 division titles in the last 12 years. Only one they lost was in 2021 when they finished second place and won 106 games to the Giants 107, and we knew they were doing some voodoo magic. They were throwing a bunch of goats in McCovey Cove, or doing some weird black magic stuff. Who knows what it was? But based on FanGraphs right now, the Dodgers have a 99.1% chance to make the playoffs. They also have the advantage over the Padres when it comes to winning the division. The Dodgers have a 61.8% chance of winning the division, and they're still in all of Major League Baseball. You look at the entire league, the Dodgers still have the best chance of winning the World Series based on FanGraphs' model at 17.1%. So I know it's doom and gloom. I know this feels like this incredible collapse, and this team has not played good baseball for a long time. Let's not sugarcoat this. It's not a couple of days, a couple of weeks. It's been more than a month that this team has played below average baseball, not to their level. And things can change. I mean, you look at where this team was back a couple of years ago, when you had momentum in the regular season and then you lost momentum in the postseason. I mean, we saw in 2014, the end of that year, Clayton Kershaw against the Giants, and that team doing what they did in 2014 to have that momentum in the postseason. Then what happened? We saw in 2017, losing 16 out of 17, losing 11 in a row. What happened during that stretch? You went on to go to the World Series. So really a lot changes during the course of a season, and the vibe can shift very, very quickly. And this is a Dodgers team that has a championship DNA. You still have your core intact. You still have a lot of talent that wasn't on this team last year that's on this team this year that can help them win. And I just don't think it's time to act like this is a done season. It's not the time to say, oh, post the thank you fans graphic, or, oh, it's going to be 1-2-3 Cancun. I've been a Dodgers fan long enough, and by long enough, I mean my entire existence, to know that we know that this is a Dodgers team that sometimes in the regular season it's going great, and then it falls apart, and sometimes in the regular season it looks like it's falling apart, and then it can turn great. Look at the 2022 team. Oh, that 110 plus win team, right? I mean, the 2022 Dodgers. Everyone thought that team going to go down. Best team ever. 111 wins that season. Couldn't get out of the NLDS, and everyone blamed the big gap between the end of the regular season and the start of the division round. And we've seen teams just kind of go in different directions. I look at the fact that this team still has incredible upside talent, high ceiling guys that you just need them to get hot, you need them to get healthy, and I still feel like this team has as good of a chance as any team in Major League Baseball right now to go and win the World Series. It's not all for naught. I mean, let's just be honest about that. This team is still a very talented group. So let me know down below in the comment section. I mean, what do you think about this team? How long have you guys been? I mean, who remembers 2013? Who remembers 2013? In 2013, the Dodgers went 42-8 in a 50-game stretch from June 22nd to August 17th. And it was, wow, Dodgers summer. Wow, best team ever. Wow, the Dodgers are going to go back to the World Series. And then what happened? What happened? You lost to the St. Louis Cardinals. And it got ugly. I mean, who remembers that 9-0 loss at the end of that one? I mean, the point I'm trying to make is you can't live on the day-to-day results of the regular season. You have to capture that postseason magic if you're going to make a deep run, and you can't capture that postseason magic on August 13th and August 14th in the middle of August. You just can't do it. You got to stay the course. You got to get healthy, and you have to find a way to overcome the issues you've had this season. That's what we're going to switch to next, because the issue with the Dodgers right now is you didn't get great starting pitching during the Angels series, and you have for a while now. The starting pitching has improved quite a bit. But Yamamoto, he gave up 6 runs in 4 2/3 innings. And then we saw Emmett Sheehan gave up 5 runs in 5 innings. Yesterday, Shohei Ohtani, yes, not good defense from Teoscar Hernandez that led to some runs there, and he was dominant at times throughout his start, but still, you're not getting length. Emmett Sheehan, 5 runs, 5 innings. Shohei Ohtani, his start, lots to love, but still not going deep into that one. Still not able to complete those 5 innings. And when you're a starting pitching group that has taxed this bullpen all season long, it shouldn't come as a surprise. And I get it. It always feels like what can go wrong will go wrong. And then this team continues to find different ways to lose late because you're not getting the production and the performances from the bullpen that you've been hoping to get, but they're missing key guys. And you need these key guys back to really feel good about your chances of finishing strong this year and going back to back. So let's talk about that next. Who are those key guys? When are they coming back? Well, the first one is definitely one that we can check off this list in a bad way, and that is about Brusdar Graterol. Brusdar Graterol had surgery on his labrum, shoulder surgery. He was supposed to be back at some time in September, but Dave Roberts said yesterday, quote, "It is possible he doesn't come back. It's kind of just where he's been, kind of his whole trek, and that if he did come back, he would need a long rehab stint and not a lot of time to ramp up." He said if Brusdar comes back, he's done it many times over where he doesn't need to go through the whole process. He knows how to pitch in big games. If he's upright and throwing the baseball, he's going to go with them, and he's a guy he's going to bet on. So Brusdar Graterol, you can cross him off the list. And then you can cross off Evan Phillips off the list. So those are 2 of really the top guys heading into this season that existed already on this team that they were banking on to help this team in October. Both those guys gone. Then the big one is Tanner Scott. So Tanner Scott is scheduled to face hitters for the first time this weekend. And Dave Roberts has been saying a lot of positive things about Tanner Scott. He has started that throwing program weeks ago. He's been throwing since late July. And he's the guy that needs to come back and be that guy. He's the guy that needs to come back and pitch like a $72 million reliever. He had a 8.10 ERA in July, but he did have a 1.35 ERA in June. So I spoke to Tanner Scott early in the season, right when he started to turn things around towards the end of May. And one thing he said was, we looked at my mechanics. I was kind of opening up a little bit, and we've addressed some things, cleaned some things up, and he was able to be more effective. So Scott needs to be that guy for this team. And I know a lot of people want a dedicated closer. Those days are gone, because the truth is sometimes you're facing higher leverage situations in the 8th than you are the 9th. So you want to be able to match up your best relievers to certain situations. And the one thing I want to say about the whole Tanner Scott and the bullpen situation, and I do totally understand the frustration with Dodgers fans that say, oh, you should have got Mason Miller. Oh, you should have got Johan Duran. And I was a big proponent. Johan Duran was the number one guy I had on my trade deadline big board. He was on that list at the top for months. They didn't get him. And they didn't get him because they are betting on the internal talent, and they're trusting that those guys can come back and do enough to help this team win. So the truth is that the team that you wanted with the top high leverage reliever, with a big name, big money closer on it, the team that you wanted the Dodgers to build at the deadline, they think they've already built last off season. So guess what? As frustrated as you are with the Dodgers, as frustrated as you are that they didn't just sell the whole store and sell all the prospects they had for top level closers, well, guess what? The Dodgers wanted what you wanted, but they think they still have the potential to have that, and you might not. So that's where this is going, right? I mean, you look at the Dodgers. I mean, you spent all this money in the offseason, $72 million on Tanner Scott and $13 million on Kirby Yates. You bring back Blake Trinan. You got a lot of pieces to go to. If you don't trust that based on just one lead up to the trade deadline, then kind of what are you doing? It's almost like if you're at a blackjack table and you go to the blackjack table and you see the guy next to you that, man, he's going through it. He's lost all of his money on the blackjack table. And then you see him calling up his brother and he's like, hey, loan me $100 and I can win it all back, right? You can't just continue to try to win it all back and throw money at the problem and think it's going to work out. Now, if it was my team, I say parades over prospects. I would have done everything I could have to try to get a top level reliever, just because I'm all in on this team, and I want to see this team go back to back and do something that has been done a long time. But it's also understandable to think about different things, right? Things that maybe fans don't consider. Like me, I was talking to an insider, and one thing he told me was, hey, you got a new CBA coming, and you have a lot of uncertainty about spending power of certain teams, and when that comes around, you want to have your prospects because you want to be able to acquire guys through different methods, and by maintaining a farm system, you're going to be in a good spot. So, I mean, maybe that's a thing, right? Maybe that's an issue. Maybe it's, the offseason, they don't like the free agency class, right? They don't think that Kyle Tucker is that guy or Bo Bichette, and they want to add a star, but they want to do it with their prospects where you can get more value out of them in the offseason. So there's a lot of things that never get reported, that don't get discussed, that aren't really mentioned, that go into when a team does or does not make a move at the deadline. I think, look, at the end of the day, Phillies were extremely aggressive for Durant. You gave up 2 top 6 prospects to get him. They got him. Mason Miller, you have the third best prospect in all of baseball to get him. David Bednar, he started to pitch better of late. They paid a high price for him. So a lot of these guys that were traded haven't been great as of yet. And the thing about this Dodgers team is you still have options.